Can we talk about something for a second? I think a lot of women with fine natural hair judge their wash and go way too early. Because if you judge your wash and go on day one, you may miss what happens a few days later. The volume changes, the shape changes, and sometimes the wash and go you see on day one is not the same wash and go you're going to see a few days later. Can I get an amen? Because if you have ever looked at your hair on day one and thought, I don't know about this, it's not working out, only to love it a few days later, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get into it. Let's start with what's happening on day one. If you have fine, lower density hair, one of the first things you'll notice is that your wash and go can appear a bit flat. There's very little volume or shape. And because the individual strands are fine, the hair doesn't automatically create the appearance of fullness right away. However, what you're seeing on day one is just the starting point. As the days go on, your style can and will expand when you use the right products and technique. That's when the volume starts to show up. Now, of course, if you have a special haircut that's designed to give you volume, that is the exception to the rule. But even that will not show up as a fully voluminized wash and go on day one when your hair is fine and lower density. Anyway, this is why I don't make a final decision about the success of my wash and go on day one. But before we go any further, if you're dealing with hair breakage and you're not exactly sure why, I recently created a free tool called the Breakage Detective. It is a quick 5-question assessment that helps point you toward possible causes of your breakage and also provides resources to help you figure out what may be happening with your hair. You will find a link to it in the description box below. Now let's talk about definition versus hold, because this is where it's easy to get tripped up. When you have fine hair, volume can feel like it's out of reach. Because of that, many women focus almost exclusively on definition. I was that person, so no judgment here. The problem is that not all definition is created equal. If your gel is extremely heavy, you may end up with beautiful definition but very little movement, very little fullness, and very little opportunity for volume to develop over time. For me, the goal is definition with hold. Enough hold for the style to last, but not so much that my hair is slicked down to the scalp. That's never going to work. The right product, however, helps create definition while still allowing the style to expand and develop over the next few days. Now let's talk about oils for a minute. Personally, oils have very little place in setting my wash and go. After my leave-in conditioner, which already contains some oil in it, the next product I'm reaching for is my gel. Not another oil, not a butter, not a cream layered on top of everything else. My gel. That is because I want the hold. For me, oils come later. Once it's time to fluff my hair and encourage volume, that's when I reach for a lightweight oil. The oil helps reduce friction and keeps frizz to a minimum while I'm separating, fluffing, and creating volume. At this point, the style is already set. Now I'm simply helping it expand into the fuller look that I'm after. Another thing that helps with volume is how you protect your hair at night. This is one reason I pineapple my wash and go. Pineappling is typically a way to preserve curl definition, and it absolutely does that, but it also helps encourage volume. When all of your hair is gathered to the top of your head and you sleep with it that way for hours, overnight, the hair is trained to lift at the scalp, creating more volume when you take it down in the morning. So if you're looking at your hair on day one wondering where the volume is, part of the answer may simply be time. And while we're talking about volume, let's talk about shrinkage for a minute, because the amount of shrinkage you have when doing a wash and go also affects the shape of the style. Shrinkage isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a sign that your curls are healthy and simply part of wearing your hair in its natural state. The key, though, is understanding what you're looking at so you don't confuse shrinkage with a lack of growth or progress. When I stretch a section like this, you can immediately see that the hair is longer than it appears. And frankly, I don't do wash and goes that often because of the amount of shrinkage that can lead to excess tangling, which can then lead to breakage. But when the summer comes, sometimes doing a wash and go once or twice, it's a good thing. It's fun. One more thing. If you've been following me for a while, you may remember that I used to use methods like the Denman brush and rake and shake, sort of like just running my fingers through my curls to define my wash and goes. I do not do that anymore. My approach has changed quite a bit. So if you'd like to see exactly how I'm defining my wash and goes these days, leave a comment below that says tutorial, and I'll record it on my next wash day. So when I say your day one wash and go is lying to you, this is exactly what I mean. The volume comes later, the shape comes later. So just give your hair some time to settle before deciding if your wash and go is a success or a total failure. You may end up loving it far more than you thought you would. I know I do.